this in between extra tension is just the between note chromatic. So what I start from the cadence is using the half step of the major scale. But even we are going crazy, what crazy means they're saying advanced harmony is just the same thing, making your own half step motion in any possible way. So Alexei asked the recommended practice routine. So I think I've been saying this many times already, but this is really, really important. So I'm happy to just repeating this subject, and I hope everyone gets it, all right? So I divided my course in two different tracks. So one track, mostly what I'm doing is I am coaching. I am showing you what the real version is. So that's why you wanted to learn how I can be that, right? But that my movement is like you should think as like in the soccer, like Cristiano Ronaldo or like back in the Messi, yeah. And their trick and their movement, everyone see, oh, that's cool, and I want to learn how do I do that. But then still, I have other tracks that, yeah, you want to be like how I'm doing, but then you need to do your workout, like cardio, not just a big muscle, but you need to, if you want to get really healthy and be like a really good soccer player on the field, then you need the stamina. But that stamina thing, I don't really say it much, right? But that track is on my website, and I explained it everything. I divided it in the course, and also the essential building blocks are already categorized in that sense. Those are the things I'm using. I'm seeing the fretboard to what I am doing, I'm doing. So this routine is, see, this major scale and the shell voicing drop 2 triad cycle, it is almost like building blocks. So over here, the routine, I have a course in my website, on my website, that bridge theory and bridge sound. On bridge theory, I explain the logic behind it and why we need to practice that way, sort of thing. And then I made 10 minutes each section, 10 minute, 10 minute, 10 minute practice schedule. And in there, ideally, we need to practice them in 12 keys. So, but on the bridge theory, I cannot show you every 12 keys how you do it. So over here, I play them everything in 12 keys. So for example, major scale, we are learning why we need to learn that in particular scale shape on the finger, because we need to see the fretboard diagonally. Because modern jazz method, we are so much trapped in the block scale way. Like over here, the position. Once you put your index finger on one fret, you rarely move it unless you rest it, you move it, right? But the West Montgomery and Penn Martino, they fluently just going all over the place and making their sound. George Benson. So, in that sense, we need to see the fretboard getting out of that block side, and we need to see them in diagonally. And over here, what Steve said was true, that modern jazz method, the pedagogy, is so much relying on our muscle memory and our eyes to the fretboard, the dots. But in diagonal major scale shape, we can use our ear train in any mode, in any key. That is the focus, and that is the key why we do this. And I played in over here 12 keys and all the 7 modes in major scale. So there is a bridge theory, has the scale and sharp plus drop 2 and triad cycle, and also bridge sound, major scale, sharp plus drop 2 and sharp the triad cycle. Yeah. So practically what you really need to practice, you can see it over here, bridge sound, there is no explanation. I'm just playing what you need to play. Okay? So, but you can see my hands, you can see the dots, what I am playing over there. Oh, this is that. Oh, that sounds. So you can play along with me. Okay? And now it really starts the fun. So share plus drop 2 and the triad cycle. So shell is already a 7th chord. And when we do the drop 2, it is upper structure. And in here, we are focusing on the chord progression, which is based on circle of 5th. So why I do this, I explain everything in the bridge theory section of shell plus drop 2. In here, I explain the key, which is the cadence. So in the cadence, from the history of music, in this major scale, the first one we found was the melodic cadence. And then next, what we found was bass cadence. So most of the Bach music ends on like this. And then classical era, so right now we were talking about polyphonic music. Before that, the church mode, the single line music was monophony. But when Beethoven came out in Romantic era and ahead, it was a homophony music, which means chords underneath and the melody on top. So in that, even though most of the classic music is built on the triad, but on the cadence, 5 chord, we have 7th chord to make extra cadence point, which is this pa going down to the mi, the third of the one chord, that became the cadence of our time, our music of the time, our music. So those three cadence points playing at the same time becomes this sound. And then the jazz focus on this. Our cadence, we focus on this cadence, targeting the third on the next chord. And from the classical cadence, we go 4 to the 5 to the 1. But the jazz musicians very much like this bass motion. So what we did was extended this bass motion to here, and then put the 7th chord over here, which becomes D minor 7. But without this bass note, functionally it is going from 4 to the 5 to the 1. But with this bass motion underneath it, it became the cadence, the 2-5-1. And then what really does in the music is, in the major scale, we have only 2 half steps, but in this 2-5-1, we are using those 2 half steps to make a perfect cadence. Which means if we play the major scale in right order to make this chord progression, we should start from the F. And from here, the third of the F, the third of the D minor 7 F, going to the third of the G7 and the third of the 1. And in between that, what we should hear, what we should listen is and this became the theme of the many standard tune. What is it? Hear that? That is the same thing in different order. The octave displacement makes that beautiful melody that dictates harmony as well. So in this logic, I laid out the shell voicing progressions in circle of fifth motion with this drop 2 voicing, with this upper structure concept, and I made, what is it? Right? And then in there, I put the upper structure with the same chord progression, and I put the secondary dominant in between. keys with the upper structure. This in between extra tension is just the between note chromatic. So what I start from the cadence is using the half step of the major scale. But even we are going crazy, what crazy means they're saying advanced harmony is just the same thing, making your own half step motion in any possible way. That is actually the jazz. That's why I named my channel the Voice Lead Jazz Guitar. Everything is lies on the half step. So the secondary dominant is using non-scale notes. So we have 12 tone. If we set the key center, we use 7 notes, and there's only 5 different outside tones. But in the secondary dominant, we are using all these 5 outside scale notes in the either third or the seventh of those dominant 7 chord, the secondary dominant chord. And then from there, the key is the voice leading point. In this diatonic circle of fifth motion, as soon as possible we need to see without the root so that we can where the voice leading is happening. We need to see them quickly. And then the secondary dominant, what they are doing is every this whole step, they are filling these half steps become C7 going to the F major 7. And there is a reason why we don't have F7 because that is not a secondary dominant. I explained in that course. But on the B minor 7 to the E minor, we use. So over here, this motion. Yeah, we need to know here this motion, the half step motions in the chord sound first, and then we can use those in between notes as a tension on top. That is the whole process of this course. So, not this one. So over here, share plus drop 2. This is like we can say the master, what is it? The routine, the building routine, the master cardio or like exercise routine thing. So share voicing plus drop 2. I explain those theory behind it and everything, how you practice it in. Again, I practiced it, I played it, and I recorded it in all 12 keys. And those are in here. Yeah, bridge sound of the share voicing plus drop 2. And so I said share voicing plus drop 2 is focusing on the 7th chord, the chord that the jazz musicians after the jazz plays it. But also we need to know how triad works. So triad cycle is not just the circle of fifth motion is useful, But in the triad cycle, there is more voice leading point. So everything in my routine and everything, I organize it for like how to practice it, how to practice the fretboard, how to see the fretboard is the voice leading. So it is not just, okay, on the 5-7 chord, what we can play. Is it dominant flat, dominant, the mixolydian flat 9, natural 13, or like diminish? It does not really matter unless we don't know where it resolved to. I rather using the resolve point and then make it everything half a step up or the down. It sounds like it resolved to the right point. So everything I see the fretboard and in the music, I looking at the structure based off of those very, very basic, the major scale cadence points. This half step in the major scale, I catch it, spread out, apply it everywhere, and it makes perfect sense to me and to the every like jazz guitar heroes. They are just doing the same thing, and who wanted to teach how they did that, writing down every note on the paper, the only logical way to explain everything is number. Yes, that's what it became the scale theory, like, yeah, scale theory. What is it? Chord and chord scale theory thing? Yeah, I learned that and I was really good at learning it and understanding it, but applying them on the fretboard, that was the nightmare. I couldn't get it. I mean, how they knew those way and play that on the fretboard was crazy. But learning this way, I really appreciate that I met Richard Hart very first semester in Berkeley. And I stay with him and I try to like learn as many possible from him. And yes, the way he taught me was the way. And after that, I put my stuff a little bit over here and over there and try to make it everything cleanly as possible. Yeah. So, Alexei, is it make sense to how build your routine and why I organize this way?
Well, let's say I have 3 periods of 30 minutes per day. Okay, so first half hour I would work on major scale and apparently modes, drop twos, upper structures, and triad cadences, or whatever, voice leading. Then I have another 30 minutes twice. What do I do? Do I play songs? Do I work on Django and West lines? Do I apply licks to chord changes? What's the actual routine? You are muted.
I explain in bridge theory how to plan your routine. Those are up to your level. But the thing is, do not exceed 10 minutes each on one of those sections. So let's say, yeah, the scales, like I will say, like E flat Dorian. So E flat Dorian is this E flat is being the re, but the scale wise, if this is re, the fingering is right. Start from something like that in or covering the whole fretboard. If you can do that in 5 minutes or 10 minutes, I organized in 2 different keys every day. So if you can do that even less than 10 minutes, then that's great. Then maybe you need to go on to the harmonic minor modes and melodic minor modes and harmonic major mode. So there is the scale thing. And then shell voicing plus drop 2, I divided it in like different ways, levels. So, and I specifically in the chord progression, I want you guys to play them. So, in this diatonic circle of fifth motions, without root is the next thing. But if you are so good at like myself, you can just go on to the upper structure sometimes. Or put the secondary dominant in between. Something like that. And there's a last part which is adding chromatic tensions in between these upper structure tensions. So yeah, something like that would be the ultimate level of in key of C, and you can pick any different keys, and doing this in 12 key is the target, is the goal. So whichever your level is, plan not to exceed 10 minutes each. And the triad as well. There's closed voicing and the open voicing in every cycle. You train the classical music, so you are familiar with that. And then after that, play the song. If you have time, play the song you are working on. Like for example, what I do is trying to play the chord melody of the song that I am working, and then try to transcribe that music who is playing, and then try to connect the dots. So right now I am working on I'm Old Fashioned, and I want to see the Peter Bernstein playing. So I started from the melody and chord melody. So the melody was it goes like, and over here the chord change is just 1 6 to 5. So I play like, I've tried to find it to harmonize those. So I did that for weeks, and I transcribe it and try to find the good voicings for them, everything, and then I transcribe Peter Bernstein's solo. His solo over this section is like, so I transpose these notes over here because in A flat major 7, the west line is over here. That's why I play over here. But for the melody, how I see it is, right? Then notes over here. From the no. Yes. Yeah. So melody. And then solo of the Peter Bernstein. Everything he stays is in these lines. And after that, the melody goes. You start from the D flat, and what he plays over there is like B flat minor. He is singing, targeting the third because melody is D flat major. The melody is D flat. So Peter Bernstein, you can see his math class. He kept saying the melody, play from the melody. There is like so many math class clips that he is saying the melody, and the way he is playing is in from the melody too. And then from there, I wanted to do something like that. So from the melody, so I'm gonna. This is my like first time trying to do my own. So it's something like that. I would go. Something like that. I wanted to play this voice leading as well. So I want to make that sounds. Peter Bernstein 뭐죠? Melody goes. So I might go. I don't know, well, from the maybe from here. Yeah. Yeah. So melody and then Peter Bernstein's phrase and trying to be something get out for myself. So in this chord progression, if I want to go stay with the chord progression, I would go right, and the melody goes. So just adding that notes, right? Something like that, and then I am true to the melody and every voice leading point. Does that make sense? Yeah. So the way I am, yeah.
Sounds beboppy.
Sounds beboppy. Yeah. So my routine is just the same thing. What I'm doing, I am teaching you guys, like showing you that melody, transcription, and making them to my version. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yes. First of all, thank you. I appreciate very much. And one little thing, yesterday I tried to make a donation on your web page using a PayPal. It didn't work. It keeps refreshing the page. Maybe you need to check it.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I will. Yeah, check it.